Ha. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to GEEXX Reads. Today I'm going to do another sequel. Ordinarily I would do my little cheeky image while holding up a copy of the book, but I borrowed this series from my daughter, and after finishing this book, Siege and Storm, I gave it back to her. So I don't have a book to go from, which was kind of annoying when I was trying to. I usually flip through the books to refamiliarize myself with the content, make sure I know the names of the cast and characters. I don't have a copy of the book. I did some internet searching, but it's not the same. So, having said that, we're going to talk about Siege and Storm by, what's her name? Leigh Bardugo? Anywho, this is the sequel to Shadow and Bone. And after the events of the first book, the climactic battle where the Darkling, tries to gain control of Alina's powers. Is that her name? I'm going to screw this up. Anyway, he tries to gain control of her power. She resists him. There's the whole little, it was my power all along kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. Little teen romancy stuff. She resists him, abandons him to die in the fold, and her and Mal escape. This book takes up a couple weeks, couple months after the events in the first book. She's trying to hide her powers so they don't get discovered, which after not using them leads to her being weak again because, being one of the Grisha, you grow stronger the more you use your power. You go weaker if you don't use it. Mal's kind of like happily, squirreling away stuff, trying to get farther and farther from the sea, farther and farther from the Darkling. When I was talking to my daughter about this book, about how I felt about it, I kind of referred to it as the Empire Strikes Back of the series, which for those of you who are familiar with the Star Wars trilogy, you know what I'm talking about, but in case you don't, Empire Strikes Back is the second film in the original Star Wars trilogy, where the first film, you've got the plucky rebels, defeating the evil Empire, blowing up the Death Star, their base. The second book is all about things take a turn for the worse. They're, our characters in The Empire Strikes Back are kind of screwed from the get-go. And it continues that way through the entire film. There's no victory at the end. Not really. They scrape by the skin of their teeth. This book is just the same. It actually follows a lot of the same plot beats as Empire Strikes Back. They're screwed from the get-go. And it does not really improve from there. She's got to deal with the aftermath, both psychologically and somewhat physically from, the aftermath of the climactic fight in the first book. She has to deal with choices that she's made and the aftermath of those. Some of them are not pleasant for some people. She has some unusual side effects from some of the things that she's done. She tries to become more powerful. She tries to make amends and does the best she can. And it still doesn't go well for her. It's not a complete disaster, but I found it very difficult for me to read. It took me a long time to read this book because I kept waiting. I could see where it was going. I could see from the get-go that this was just going to be the story where this is the part of the trilogy where the story went downhill, where things just did not go right for any of the characters for very long. I could see it coming a mile away, which made it hard for me to read. I don't enjoy reading that kind of thing. It made it hard for me to read Game of Thrones because you kept waiting for the people you liked to die horribly. This being a young adult book, that probably wasn't going to happen here. There were still a few surprises that were pretty dark for a young adult book. Lost my train of thought. Oh, we're introduced to a few new characters. One of them being Sturmhund. Sturmhound? Sturmhund? It's Russian-based. I don't know how to pronounce it. Could be Sturmhound, could be Sturmhund. Stormhound is probably a good translation of who the character is. Going back to the Star Wars, he's like the Han Solo of this. He's like personality-wise, he's more of a combination between Han Solo and Lando Calrissian. He's smoother than Han Solo, but he's still a complete smartass. So I like him. He is selfish, practical to the point of being almost ruthless. But he's a fun character. I do enjoy reading about him. He was probably the brightest part for me in this book. In spite of the fact that you really don't spend a lot of time with him. A bit in the beginning, you know, a bit towards the middle. He's more of a foil for Alina than anything else. He is kind of her polar opposite in a lot of respects, for personality-wise. You know, where she is very, you know, internal, and with Iran, he is very much outgoing. He is more her polar opposite. Even, I mean, Mal is her opposite, you know, character-wise, in that, yes, he's outgoing and friendly, but no, Stormhund pale, you know, makes Mal look pale in comparison as far as how outgoing he is. And again, practical to the point of ruthlessness, but still a very fun character. Having said how hard this was for me to get through, because I could see how far it was going, you know, the path that it was taking, it was still a good book. I still enjoyed it. Once I got past the mental block of waiting for the shoe to drop and things to go south, I did kind of force my way into it. But, you know, once I kind of, was one of those things that once I got myself reading, I could keep reading. It was more the mental of trying to, you know, get myself to actually pick the book up and read it. Once I started reading, I was good to go. But because once I put it down, I did find it hard to pick back up again. It took me a while. I don't know if I would rate this book as high as the first one. I don't remember what I gave the first one. Well, whatever grade I gave the first one, give this one a tiny bit less. You know, if I gave that one an A, give this one an A minus. If I gave that one an A minus, give this one a B plus. I don't know. It's somewhere in there. It's still a good book. It's still a young adult book, which means, you know, it read very quickly. And it was still kind of simplistic. The teen romance angst was still there. There were a couple other characters that came with Sturmhund, and I can't remember their names. I think they're brother and sister. But I don't have the book to check. I tried looking online, and I couldn't. I was trying to do it quick because I'm on my lunch hour. You know, got to get this done during my lunch hour so I don't, you know, screw up my work day. So had to kind of rush a little bit and didn't have the physical copy of the book to read. I won't make that mistake with the third book. I'm in the middle of reading something else before I pick the third book up, but got to finish that first. So, good book. B plus, A minus material, I guess, in there somewhere. Who the hell knows? I hope, you know, if you're watching this and you pick these books and read them, I hope you enjoy them. I would recommend them as light reading material, in spite of my criticisms. Still an easy read, still a fun light read for like a weekend, you know. Could read this over a long weekend easily. Yeah, that's all I got. As always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, I'm sorry for you. Go torture yourself with some of my other crap. And until next time, good hunting.